We've also got someone else to talk to us about this. We've got David Cullen. He's the author of the book Columbine, named after the shooting in Colorado, and he joins us now on the set. Thank you very much
Hi, thank you.
We don't know a lot about this alleged shooter.
Right.
What sort of person does this?
Well, there are three main types. You know, in all these situations, I think most people out there have the same question as why does this happen, and are looking for like one answer of the type of person that does this. And there have been some great studies by the Secret Service and the FBI that decided conclusively there is no single profile, but there are generally one of three, and they are the most rare is the sadistic psychopath, which is fairly rare, somebody who understands what they're doing, just doesn't care, enjoys hurting people. Very unusual, but Eric Harris at Columbine was one of those. You have the people who are deeply mentally ill, typically schizophrenia or something like that. That was the case at Virginia Tech and at Tucson, but it's also relatively unusual. Believe it or not, the most common are the angry depressives, deeply, deeply suicidally depressed, distraught at the end of their rope. Which doesn't explain it all, but that's sort of the basis of where they're starting out, and that's what most of these turn out to be.
That's the most common.
The most common, and we don't know if that's the case here, but those are the three areas to look, and they're rare outliers, like sometimes drugs or an actual crime of passion hardly ever happens. It's almost always one of those.
And are there warning signs that people could have seen? I mean, we hear about this. People get angry in the work, and they're not. I mean, we've all been there, but we haven't killed anyone.
Exactly, and typically there are warning signs galore. The problem is not warning signs of murder, warning of a problem. And actually, Sue Klebo, the mother of Dylan Klebo, one of the Columbine killers, wrote sort of an amazing essay for O Magazine about this, of recognizing the sign in your son, and it's almost always boys, of when he's getting to that distraught place and when he is deeply depressed, of not writing it off as just sadness. And if there's a bigger problem here, he's probably not going to commit mass murders, 1 out of a million chance, but he may attempt suicide or get involved in drug and alcohol or other problems.
And there are medications now.
Yes.
And that is the great thing now versus 50 years ago when there really weren't great medications. So tell us about the process of healing for the people very closely involved in this. How you studied this after Columbine.
I did.
How long does this take? Does it ever go away? Are you traumatized forever?
Yeah, those are good questions. It really varies. It varies radically. In fact, I'll give you one little bit that at Columbine, they had in-school, there's 2,000 students there, and so they had in-school counseling for anybody who wanted it. And they actually tracked how many kids actually used that, and faculty. And the number kept climbing for the first 6 months. It actually got more people instead of fewer. They thought, it'll go down over time. It kept going up to about 6 months and then stayed steady for another 1.5 years. And for about that 1.5 year period, they had roughly the same number of kids on suicide watch. So some kids would get over it and be okay again. Other kids, 1.5 years, 2 years out, would then get suicidal. So the key thing is understanding that everybody's different, so there is sort of there's no one track. And if you're close to someone, allow them the space to grieve in their own timing and their own way.
People do need space. We really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate it. David Cullen, author of Columbine. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Simon. Appreciate
Cheers.
it.
And we have some breaking news. This is an update from the Associated Press. The suspect in the Connecticut shootings is named as Adam Lanza. He is 20. The alleged shooter is 20 years old and son of the teacher who is presumed dead. Let me repeat that. According to the AP, the suspect in the Connecticut shootings is Adam Lanza. Was 20 years old, the son of the teacher who is presumed dead. Again, alleged suspect. And that's it. That's the news hub for now. We hope you have a great weekend.